Civil War soldier, Confederate States of America. That's funny. Stumbled across this grave. The story I got today has a little something to do with the Civil War. It comes from my best friend's mother. She was a very, very religious woman. She was in church every time the church doors was open. 2 times on Sunday, once on Wednesday, Saturdays when they had a singing, and any other event. So she was a pretty straight up, straightforward woman. And she used to tell us a story about, I guess it might have been her great-grandmother or her great-great-grandmother. Anyway, it goes back to the Civil War period. And I don't know which side of the war that they were on. This part of the area that I'm in was split right down the middle, actually. But whatever side it was, her farmhouse had been set on fire and burned. And everything was lost except just a few things, few items of her great-grandmother's. And I think a few of them was like her wedding dress and maybe some jewelry, some knick-knack things like that. Little things like that were saved. But she saved them, and they was precious to her because she nearly lost them. So she saved those things until her deathbed, and she had them in a trunk. Now, even though she survived the fire and stuff, she was still dying pretty young. She had something wrong with her. I don't know what it was. Something like tuberculosis or something. She had got married and had children, but they were young. They were very young. And so she never did get to see them marry. But she wanted her belongings that survived the fire to stay in the family. And anybody who was not in the family, it's a beautiful view of the mountain up there. Anybody who was not in the family who would shuffle through the belongings, she would come back and haunt them. She would come back and give them a warning to leave it alone. And they were to heed that warning. So this is how the story goes. So they were passed down, and a few granddaughters used them. His mom used them. Grandson who married's wife used a few of the things, and so forth and so on. And when they got done, they were placed back in the trunk and placed back in the attic. Well, one day while they're going through the attic, this was like in the 70s, I think, what she told us, in the early 70s. One of the cousins of the family was up there helping rearrange or go through some yard sale stuff. And she stumbled across the trunk, and she opened it up, started taking things out and looking at things and playing with the knickknacks and stuff. And when the family had called her, the grandmother, I will say, had called her at this time, she had told her, don't do that, put those things up, that is a huge no-no. And she told her the story behind it. Well, the girl kind of scoffed at it. She put them up. She was kindly upset. And when I say cousin, I think she's a cousin by marriage, which they still consider it cousins around here. They consider a lot of things with cousins, but anyway, that's another story. So anyway, they go down to the dinner table and start eating. So they start talking about this story again. And the grandmother says, yes, I caught her going through the things up there in the trunk, in the chest. And they're all sitting there telling her, oh, you should have never done that. That's a huge no-no. And again, they told her the story. And again, the lady scoffed at the story, saying it's all rubbish and just hillbilly beliefs, and there's nothing behind it. And just a few minutes later, the power went out. All the lights went off, and everything went black in the house. Well, the men folks sitting around the table started to aggravate her a little bit, telling her, oh, you know, here it is, she's going to get you, here's where she gets you. Because I think power outages back then in the summertime were, you know, it's kind of common. So in the meantime, while they're saying this, they hear a pop. I mean, a real loud pop. And then it's instantaneously, the lights come back on. And the lady is laying in the floor, and she has a handprint on the side of her face. I mean, she is smacked on her face hard. And they help her up, and she wants to know who at that table smacked her and while the lights were out. Well, nobody has moved from where they're sitting. Everybody was still seated where they was at. Nobody has got up and smacked you. We tried to tell you about this stuff and you won't listen. Nobody has smacked you. Well, she refused to believe what was going on. She didn't want to believe it at all. So, in the meantime, while she's there arguing with him, she feels a pain in her back. A burning sensation, which she thinks it's due from her hitting the floor. She pulls her dress back or unzips it there, has one of the ladies check it, and sure enough, there's claw marks on her back. Well, she knew right away then that nobody had scratched her sitting there at the table. So she kindly got scared at this point, shook up, nervous. They kind of consoled her, told her, look, just don't do that no more, and don't scoff at our beliefs and, you know, at our family's beliefs and the things that we believe in and the things that we hold dear. You know, if you choose not to believe in it, keep that to yourself and mind the rules, you know, of the family that we lay before you. Well, later on that night, the lady, she goes to get her bath, and while she's in her bath or in the shower, and the mirror steams up. They did have hot water, believe it or not, then. Of course, this is in the 70s. When she gets out of the bathtub, she sees in the mirror where somebody had wrote with her fingers, "You have been warned." Now, she went and got people of the family, and supposedly they saw this too. And this stayed with that woman for the rest of her life. And I was told that this really affected her as she got older in life. She died of old age, it's not too many years ago, but that really changed her life and the way she looked at things and the way she believed things, her beliefs in the afterlife, and it really changed her, and it changed her for the better, if you can believe that or not. But the old, as far as I know, my friend's mom had long passed away now. But the last that we was told and talked to her, the old chest is still in that attic in the old house that his kinfolk have. And that when someone gets married, if they want to, you know, I'm sure the wedding dress is probably all rotted and stuff by now, but they can wear the jewelry, the knickknacks, the different things that's in there. And when they get done, they're to be placed back in the chest and locked up. So, you know, I have to believe this story because the lady she was a very religious lady and never knowed her to tell a lie. I had no reason to lie, so, you know, no reason to doubt her. Just another strange story from these hills and mountains. That family lived in Wyers Valley. I don't know if you know where that's at, but it's as you head toward Townsend, toward the Smoky Mountains there, Cage Cove. But it is Rod Run weekend here in Pigeon Forge. If you can see the traffic backed up way past where it's not supposed to be. You cannot move around here. You cannot get around. We have about 4 rod runs a year here. And I mean, it is the world's largest parking lot. So I'm not going to be able to go that way. And by the way, while I've got everybody on here, I am no longer getting notifications for some reason on my YouTube channel. Whenever y'all comment on a video or something, I used to get a notification that somebody had commented. For some reason, I'm not getting those anymore. The only way I know that any of y'all have commented on any videos I make is if I just go back to a video and look. So if you all have commented on any old videos and I've not said anything back, or you've asked me a question, it's because I don't see it. I don't know why that's happened, but I'm sure that a lot of y'all have commented on some of the older stuff now. And I try to answer a lot of the comments and try to talk to people, you know, who I think are reasonable and just not being silly. And so I don't know, I don't understand why that's doing that now. Even the last video I put on, the latest videos, it doesn't show me that anybody's commented anymore. So, but I'll check back and check them every now and then and see if anybody's commented or what y'all have said. And I'll get back on here and tell y'all a couple more stories here before long and do some catching up. That story just happened to come to my mind. I was thinking of my friend's mother today, and that story popped into my mind, and I thought, well, I'll just pass this one on. But I'll talk to y'all later. I care for my viewers and followers, and I try to answer your questions and keep up with you and best I can, and like to meet every one of you if that's possible. Till next time, guys, we'll catch y'all later.